Little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a
Halloween night, cold air, paper ghosts on porches, jack-o'-lanterns breathing little orange hearts. I was home alone, top floor, old apartment with thinner-than-memory walls. I wasn't expecting anyone. At 11:57 p.m., the doorbell rang. Not my chime. Not the cheerful two-note ding I'd heard 1,000 times. This was a slow, metallic tone, like an elevator in a building that doesn't exist anymore. I checked the peephole. No one, just the hallway. Silent. The red exit sign humming at the end like it always does. I pressed my ear to the wood. Nothing. I told myself it was a wiring issue, old building, bad circuits. I went back to the couch. 11:59 p.m. The bell rang again. One note. Too long, like it had lungs. I looked through the peephole again. Still nothing, except the hallway looked 2 inches closer, like the lens had stepped forward without me. I opened my phone and started filming through the peephole. You can hear it on the video. My breathing, then the bell, then my whisper, "Who's there?" Nothing answered. I locked the deadbolt, turned off the porch light, told myself to wait for midnight. Halloween does strange things to buildings. 12 a.m. The bell rang a third time. This time, the floor under the door shivered, as if the sound came from the wood itself. I unlatched the chain, slid the door open. Just an inch. Cold air slipped in, and with it, a smell I knew but couldn't name. Like rain on old pennies, like a basement that never dries. The hallway was empty, but the light seemed crooked, as if the ceiling had raised one tile higher, and the far end bent toward my door the way trees bend toward water. I shut it, locked everything, backed away. My phone vibrated. A text from an unknown number. "Don't open the door." Before I could reply, the bell rang a 4th time. I said, "Go away, because that's what people say." I said it louder, because that's what fear asks for. No answer. Then I realized the sound wasn't only at the door. It was in the walls. It slid through the paint like a coin under wallpaper. It chimed from the heating vents, from the pipes, until the apartment itself felt like a bell being rung. The power went out. Silence. Then the tiny glow of my phone screen. The jack-o'-lantern across the street blinked once and died. The hallway exhaled. I don't know how else to say it. Air moved under the door as if the building had lungs and had chosen this moment to breathe out. I stood there with my palm flat on the wood, warm, like someone's hand pressed back from the other side. Not a knock, a touch. That was worse. I spoke through the seam. "Who are you?" It whispered. A voice, thin as fishing line, pulled tight. "You are." I stepped away so fast my heel hit the shoe rack. A sneaker toppled over. You can hear this part on the video too. The scrape, my breath catching, the bell swelling again. 12:06 a.m. The text came back. "It's not your door." I stared at those words, and then, as if the apartment had been waiting for me to understand what they meant, something changed. The outline of my door darkened. The wood grain deepened, running like water beneath varnish. The brass peephole dulled. The doorknob became older in a blink, pitted, bruised, the way metal gets after hands that don't let go. This wasn't my door anymore. It wore my frame like a mask. The bell rang again. But now it sounded farther away, as if the hallway had stretched for miles and the sound had to travel through other rooms that weren't on my floor. I whispered, "What do you want?" It answered with an answer that wasn't an answer. Midnight keeps promises. Behind the door, something shifted its weight. Not footsteps, not a body. The way buildings shift, settling, finding themselves heavier than their plans. I thought of the text, "Don't open the door." I also thought of how every fear grows when it's left unfed. I didn't want this thing to live here with me, in my walls, in my phone, in every night that followed. I slid the chain back, my hand shook on the deadbolt. Don't, I told myself. But I did. I opened the door. The hallway was not the hallway. It was longer, narrower, the wallpaper stained with patterns I couldn't look at for more than a heartbeat without feeling dizzy. The exit sign was too far away. Or maybe there were many exits, stacked like cards in a deck, each one a little thinner than the next. On the floor in front of me lay a welcome mat I'd never seen. Not welcome, just come. Down the corridor, a second door stood ajar. Not any neighbors, a stranger's door stitched into the building like a patch you only notice after the coat is on your shoulders. From inside it, somewhere low and patient, a bell murmured, not ringing but breathing. I whispered, "Hello?" The unknown number called me. I put the phone to my ear, no voice, just my doorbell, slowed to a human heartbeat. I should have shut the door. I should have slid the deadbolt and pushed furniture against it. Instead, I stepped into the corridor. The air tasted like old coins again. My footsteps felt borrowed, like I was walking inside someone else's idea of walking. When I reached the second door, I saw there wasn't a peephole. There was a keyhole, long, thin, like an eye that had decided it would rather be a mouth. I looked through it. Darkness on the other side. Something moving inside that darkness, the way dust moves in a shaft of light. Except there wasn't any light for dust to move in. "Is someone there?" I asked. The keyhole cooled my breath and gave it back. Then a whisper from the other side said, "You are." My phone flashed. 12:11 a.m. Another text. "Midnight keeps promises. Let it pass." I backed away, keeping my eyes on the seam. Whatever was in there kept time with me. I could feel it leaning closer, the way you can feel a person behind a door, the way a storm feels when it presses its face to glass. I made it to my apartment. I closed my door. I locked it. I put a chair under the knob. That felt silly and good. The bell did not ring again, not that night. At 12:37 a.m., the power came back. The hallway returned to its normal length. The peephole looked like mine again. My door was just wood. I slept on the floor by the kitchen, away from the entry where the hum of the fridge could pretend to be a human noise. Morning was ordinary. Traffic, coffee, a neighbor wrestling a stroller with a wheel that always sticks. I told myself it was a dream that had learned too many details. I almost believed me until I checked my phone. The video I took through the peephole was there. So was the audio from the hallway. So were the texts from the unknown number. And there was one more message, sent at 12 p.m. sharp, exactly 12 hours after the first bell. "It visits places that forget midnight. Keep a clock. Keep your door. Tonight is Halloween again. I bought a second clock." I taped the batteries into place. I set alarms for 11:55, 11:57, 11:59, and 12:01. If the bell rings, I won't answer. If the hallway breathes, I'll breathe quieter. If the door changes its face, I'll look away. Because now I understand what that first whisper meant. It wasn't telling me who was at the door. It was telling me who the door was for. And sometimes, on Halloween, the door doesn't lead into your home. It leads to you.